Today, we have Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Swamiji here, and he's going to unravel what in the minds of a spiritualist who is there at the helm of this country, and what in the minds of this gentleman that makes the country ticking.
A milestone that will change the future of medical education in India was accomplished by the Sri Sai University for Human Excellence by the setting up of India's first totally free medical college, Sri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research.
Selfless service personified, Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, a revered spiritual leader.
Building a new India. As we all know, India is the most ancient land, most ancient civilization in the whole of the world. We are proud residents of this country, which has been there almost forever. Though recorded history only puts us on the dateline for maybe 5,000 years ago or something like that, but unrecorded history of our spiritual scriptures take us back to more than 10 to 15,000 years ago. That's as far as we can see from here today, but I'm sure we are older than that. We are the smartest race on earth. At the same time, we are the most spiritual race on earth. And that's the uniqueness of being Indians. We are modern, yet we are ancient. And when we think of building the new India, especially in this Amrit Kal of the next 25 years, it's about building a new India on the ancient principles of our spiritual heritage. And this is what I wanted to bring to your notice. Now, this is our opportunity, a moment that we must seize to do it right this time. In the last 100 years, as we have seen, several countries have come out of poverty, they have progressed, many of them are developed nations, the first world. But have they done it right is the question that we all must ask. Is there something that we can learn from what has happened so far and build an India, the new India, a little differently from the other countries who have only focused on economic progress, leaving a lot of other social and cultural aspects, especially spiritual aspects, behind. So we, being a nation which was founded on the principles of spirituality, oneness of everything and everyone, and the prayer as it goes, I often quote that, Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkham apnuyat. Look at the magnanimity of this prayer, which says, let everyone be happy and healthy. May no one have any sorrow whatsoever. May everyone see auspiciousness and good everywhere. That is the prayer. We did not pray for just ourselves or our company or our country. We prayed for the entire humanity. We said, may everyone, that includes birds, beasts, as I was told, WMG is also very actively involved with wildlife preservation, conservation. So everybody is included in that, the trees, the birds, the beasts, the mountains, the rivers, the entire environment, the ecosystem, the atmosphere, everything and everyone is included in this happiness which we always dreamt of. And so when we build the new India that we are all talking about, will this India be the India that our ancients had thought about, dreamt of and prayed for? Or will this just be another economic growth engine for the rest of the world? Is a question that we must ask and accordingly take the next steps. Few centuries ago, India contributed to a quarter of world's GDP is what I was told. Today, maybe 3%, 4% of the world's GDP. And world's GDP stands as $100 trillion and even increasing, growing by 2-3% every year. Yet, at the same time, there are 700 to 800 million people in the world who go to bed hungry. And that is the kind of growth that we have achieved in the past 1 century or so, where we have become $100 trillion GDP. At the same time, we have left behind 100 million people to starve. Is this the right kind of growth? Is this the new kind of world order that we want to create? Will India be the leading force in creating the new paradigm, especially in the global south? Is something that we all as influencers, as shakers and movers in the society must ask ourselves. And the answers to all these questions lie in our ancient Indian ideals of considering everybody as ours. As the G20 presidency is with India this year, and the motto is so wonderful. They borrowed it from very ancient Upanishadic idea, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Maha Upanishad. It says, Ayam nijaha parovetti gadana laghu chetasam udara charitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. To consider these people as ours and those as others is the way of the narrow-minded ones, the selfish ones. But for the broad-minded people, the entire world is one family. And from there, we too have borrowed our inspiration when we defined our mission for the whole world as one world, one family. The moment you think of the world as a family, the whole attitude towards everyone around you changes. Suddenly you feel more compassion, more kindness, more camaraderie, more fraternity, more connection with each other. And then we are willing to do whatever is in our might to help each other because we are a family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. I don't think in the history of G20 summits ever anybody thought of an idea as beautiful as this. That whole world is our family and India has to show the way. As I keep talking to different people from different sectors, I keep telling them, we don't have to do anything. We just have to go back to our ancient roots. And all the new shoots that appear will be right. Mahatma Gandhi was once asked, by a journalist, an impatient journalist who said, I do not have all the time in the world to listen to your entire discourse. Please tell me about your philosophy in just 3 words. And Mahatma Gandhi summarized it from one of the Upanishad he taught, from Isha Upanishad. And he said, Tena tyaktena bunjita. Tena tyaktena bunjita. Sacrifice and enjoy. Not enjoy and then sacrifice. He simply said sacrifice and then enjoy. What does that mean? This again is a very ancient Indian idol, and I tell in every forum, this is the solution to all the problems of the world. Consume, but with a sense of sacrifice. Consume only as much as you need and not as much as you want. Principles of economics, resources are scarce and our wants are unlimited. With limited resources, we want to achieve unlimited wants, and that's why we need economics and all of you. But the truth is that our Indian ancient principle said, just take as much as you need and leave the rest. Even if you have earned it rightfully, it does not belong to you. In fact, the whole shloka says, Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkinchat jagatyam jagata tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma grudha kasya svidhanam. Which means the whole world is permeated by the same divine force. Everybody is equal in that divinity. So how do we behave when we know that we are all equal in some way? Forget about divinity, even otherwise we are equal. We feel the same hunger, we feel the same sleep, we feel the same sadness. And with COVID, we all have felt the same pain and suffering. COVID was a great leveler, I must say. And it's taught us some very important lessons as humanity. So we are all equal in so many ways. So when we know we are equal in so many ways, how are we to behave in this world? What are we supposed to do? And it says, Tena tyaktena bunjita. Therefore, consume, but with a sense of sacrifice. Think of others as well who do not have the same privileges and opportunities as us. And the last part of the shloka is even more beautiful. And that connects us all, that connects economics with spirituality, with social service, with governance and everything. And that says, Ma grudha kasya svidhanam. Don't take another person's wealth. Which means don't steal another person's belongings. And you would say, who would do that? That's crime, and legal system is there around. We would be caught. But it is much deeper than that. It says, whatever is not needed by you, it does not belong to you. We would say, I have earned it rightfully. I own it because of my efforts, and therefore I am the owner of it. It belongs to me. But our scriptures say, no, not at all. If you don't need it, even if you have earned it rightfully, it does not belong to you. It belongs to somebody whose need is greater than yours. Imagine if this principle was applied. All these ideas of equality, inclusivity, and prosperity for all, equitable growth, all these would have been realized by now. If only we thought that all that which we do not need, truly we do not need to have it. It belongs to somebody whose need is greater than ours. So what if we have rightfully earned it? So that is the idea of Ma grudha kasya svidhanam. On one side, we have people who have excess wealth. On the other side, we have people who have absolutely nothing. They don't even know how they are going to get the next meal of the day. And I work at the grassroots level with our wonderful team across 25 states and 4 union territories in India and across close to 33 countries around the world. And we know the problems are same. There are developed nations, but they have another side of theirs which they don't showcase, but the problem is same. There are children who go uneducated, they don't go to school, there are women who do not get opportunities, they are hungry, they are malnourished, there are conflicts and there are issues, social issues, there is injustice, name it. All problems exist under the shadow of all the prosperous nations, but we tend to ignore it. So they have built these nations on these principles of pure economics, pure capitalism. But as India, it's our time to build the new India in a different way. Do it better than them, not because we can grow faster than them, not because our GDP or per capita will be more than theirs, but simply because in our country, this dream of let everybody be happy, may everybody be prosperous, may everybody be healthy will be realized, which has not been realized in any of the developed nations of the world as of now. And this is our opportunity, this is our moment to seize. And how do we all connect? And I say that if you draw a grid, an x-axis and a y-axis, and you put giving on the x-axis and taking on the y-axis. Now all life is give and take, as we all know. You put them on two axes and then you will find four kinds of people in the world. One, who give less and take also less. They're called minimalists. No, they do not want to take too much, but they also do not want to give too much. They survive with limited means. And that's actually gathering momentum with the new generation. They don't want to buy cars, they don't want to buy houses, they're okay with leasing and hiring and renting. They do not want to accumulate hoard. This is a new generation. The millennials think differently. And Gen Z is even different than them. So they are as minimalists. They'll do least damage to the society and also they take less from people. But they do not also help in a big way. They just do their part very little. Then the other quadrant would be those who take as much as they give. They just want to give as much as they take. They do not want to do more than that. They just want to do their duty, perform their social obligations. I call them socialists. Now, they take and they give, but that's equal. They don't do more than their might. And that's also a part of the world. Many countries follow that philosophy, and that's fine too. But I have not seen success in those philosophies as well. We have been to countries which follow socialism or communism or whichever way. But I haven't seen happiness and equality over there as well. Then we have the third quadrant of those who give more and take less. They always contribute more back to the society compared to what they have taken from the society in terms of resources. And these people are called spiritualists, who always try to find out how we can give more than what we take from the society. And that's the idea of sustainability. Whenever you give more than what you take, naturally your resources will be sustainable. And the fourth quadrant, I don't have to tell you who they are. They take more and give less. And I do not want to name that East. But they exist, and they exist in a big number. And that's why all the disparity. The biggest challenge that the world is facing today is social polarization. And not religious polarization, social polarization, which means there are haves and there are have-nots, and they are at the two ends of this great chasm of inequality. And this will lead to social unrest. This will lead to many other issues. Governance issues, social issues, geopolitical issues, not because of any ideology, or religious or other. People are fed up and they're tired of religious ideologies. Wars happened earlier for that reason, but not anymore. Today wars will happen because people will claim what they think rightfully is their right, and which has been denied because they have been denied because of the people who hold positions of authority and power. And that is the kind of unrest that we are going to face in the coming times. So how will businesses operate in an environment which is so volatile? It's already a VUCA world, as we say. Add social polarization to it, and you have the recipe for sure, short disaster. And that is the world that we are heading towards. Who can guide this world in the right direction but India? India, which has always believed in prosperity and happiness of all, which always thought of the last and the least in the queue, which has never given material achievements as much importance as spiritual endeavors and achievements. That is the only country which can show the way out of this mess to the world. And as G20 is a significant moment in India's history, political and geopolitical history. And this is the moment, this is a milestone when India needs to tell the world how it should be done. But how can you preach if you do not practice? So we have to practice this value, and this is exactly the discussion that we had with the Honorable Prime Minister when we met him for the opening of the medical college in a small remote area in Mudenhalli, because we were not finding enough doctors, nurses and paramedics. COVID time, we all know. Even if you wanted, you did not get any facilities. Even if you could pay for it, you did not have experts, you did not have medical professionals to help you. And he himself was lamenting. He told, crores of rupees were spent by corporates, by very many people, like, you talk about CSR and other things, for the sake of providing oxygenators or concentrators and other facilities to hospitals. But when they did an audit on it, this is from the Prime Minister, it's not from me or from some statistician or from some other agency. He said they found that hundreds and hundreds of those boxes were never opened. On one side, we had people suffering, struggling to get oxygen. And you know what happened in Karnataka? We all know about that mess of beds and oxygenated beds. And on the other side, there were oxygenators, concentrators, but there were no people, no experts to open and use it. There were no paramedics, no nursing staff, let alone doctors. That is the kind of world we have created, where we have excesses on one side, but on the other side, we do not have the resources to execute all that we have planned to do. And with the challenge of educating 250 million children in our country and employing probably another 250 million, we are facing a huge crisis at this point of time. Our education system lacks 1 million teachers are missing from our schools because we never paid attention to education sector. Our budgets are peanuts of a budget we have for education sector. And that does not help to cater to the world's largest student population. It doesn't work, and we can't be America and give student loans and get them into a debt trap, and they'll commit suicide. Look, are we planning to head towards the same crisis as these developed, so-called developed nations, the economic behemoths of the world are today? Or are we trying to do it any different is the question that I have come to ask to this very celebrated and very influencing section of the society, which can do a lot if it decides to do. So the whole question comes back to how, as economists, as the people belonging to the corporates, as people belonging to the sections of the societies from governments and policymakers can think differently and build an India which is very different from the kind of developed nations that we have seen so far. And that is the kind of story we must tell the world. And this story begins from where India began, with the idea that we are all equal, we are all one, and we are a family. And it's our utmost responsibility to look after each other's welfare, because unless everybody is happy, we cannot be happy. And I'll close with this quote, which says, there cannot be a happy individual in an unhappy family. There cannot be a happy family in an unhappy society. There cannot be a happy society in an unhappy country. There cannot be a happy country in an unhappy world. So it all begins from us to create happiness around ourselves, to bring everybody at par, to give everybody an opportunity to excel and grow. All that I request this forum is, please find ways to provide opportunities, equal opportunities, that is all, no charity. Don't show pity, don't show compassion, don't show charity to people, that's unfair. Just give them equal opportunities. There are girls who are waiting to get educated. There are children who want to go to school, who are laboring away in the hard days, labor under the sun. There are many patients who are waiting to get their next surgery, but they cannot afford it. There are many, many people who are malnourished. India is globally, after Africa, certain countries of Africa, India is the next in global malnourishment. And we have excess food. We have plenty of food. 80 crore people are served free food for the last 1.5 years by the Prime Minister because of the COVID setbacks, but we don't have nutrition. We don't have children getting balanced diet, so we have stunting, wasting, and delayed growth and deficiency. So all this has to be corrected, and that's not possible by one agency, one organization, or one government. This is where Sarkara Samaja Samstha, the tripod model, is what I'm requesting you are all to pay attention to. And I'm happy that we have people from the government, policymakers, we have industrialists, we have people who have really done all that I'm saying right now. I'm sure many of you and most of you are part of this kind of a ecosystem, but we must tell this story to more people. Once again, thanking you for allowing us to present our case. I rest my case with this advocacy for equal opportunities for everyone. Thank you very much. Samasta Loka. Sukhino Bhavantu.